Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with another Garage Gun Talk. I'm out here in the garage working on the foam that I bought. I think in a few videos ago I talked about how I wanted to kind of create a case for my Mark 12 inspired build, not a clone build. I know everybody would get on my case. That's not a Mark 12. No, inspired build. And I was talking about having to figure out ways of cutting foam, and I said I tried all the different ways that you guys recommended, and it just didn't work. And I found a place called the Foam Factory, where you can buy like big sheets of the foam. Where you can actually, I'll show you. It's these little things where you can like punch out and pull these out. I guess you can see they're all like cut by 1/2 inches, and so you can custom fit items in a case, and I was able to buy it at different thicknesses, so I knew I needed like a 2-inch one, and they have one that would have fit this case, but I had to obviously take a lot of material off. They don't have one specifically for this size. They have one that was a lot longer and a little bit wider. So I bought that one. It was only like $14 with like $10 shipping. And so I said, well, if it doesn't work out, whatever, I'm out 25 bucks. And somebody in the comment section says, that's not going to work out well. But I gotta say, I'm really happy with how this is turning out, because let me show you here. I still got to work on the upper receiver, because I think I'm going to put a different compartment on this, or in the case, for the optic, and I need to take off the vertical foregrip. I'm gonna do something different with that. But let me show you. I got the lower, the bipod, and the silencer in here, and of course, this is gonna be a little bit awkward to show here, but maybe you guys can see this. Maybe. There we go. Well, kind of. Sorry, the lighting in here sucks. But I got the lower, the bipod, and the suppressor. And see how clean those lines are? Yeah, I just got to take my time and make sure everything lines up. I am exceptionally happy with how this is turning out. But before I put the upper in here, I said I think I'm going to take off the vertical foregrip. I'm not a big fan of the Magpul one. I think I'm going to put a piece of Picatinny rail and have a QD one and have a separate space for the vertical foregrip, and a separate space in here for the optic, as well as I need to buy a sling and put it in here as well. So everything will be very modular depending on how I want to set up the rifle. Plus, without the vertical foregrip, I can actually put the lower in here and fit it in a little bit easier. The lower, the upper. Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. So I'm just out here in the garage working on this tonight, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something, and it's an article that I read yesterday regarding the NRA. And I hadn't heard or thought about the NRA in some time. And so I wanted to ask you guys what you guys all think, because in my journey in the Second Amendment, I can say that when I first got in, the NRA was a huge deal. Like it was a huge deal. And everybody was promoting them. They were fighting the Obama administration. You know, they had presidential things, you know, like when Trump was running and so forth. And even though maybe not everybody was a huge fan of like Wayne LaPierre, they were like the big guys on the block. I mean, this is before like the Gun Owners of America, the FPC, the Second Amendment Foundation were as big as they are. And of course, they were also the big boogeyman for many anti-gunners. And so we put up with the NRA, and the things that, you know, I think people understood and perceived about the NRA that was bad, because they were so effective at just pissing off the anti-gunners. And then over time, it came out that they were truly as corrupt as some people were saying. That Wayne LaPierre was, you know, taking money, funneling money. They were wasting money. You know, and then the NRA got into all these legal issues. And then finally, you now see where, I mean, when I was going to gun shows early on, I mean, you'd actually see tables at gun shows for the NRA. You don't see that anymore. When I buy a gun, they used to have like little brochures and things to join the NRA. They don't even have those anymore. You know, you used to get the phone calls. You used to get the mailers. Maybe some of you guys do, but I don't anymore. I told them, I said, they don't get one dime from me, and don't ever bother me until Wayne LaPierre is gone. And so now they're almost like a ghost of their former self. And in some ways, I think it's a great thing. You know, in the past, when I've made anti-NRA videos, people have said how wrong I am because they're still the big guys on the block. And I always thought that was kind of flawed thinking because, you know, people are kind of living in the past. They assume that once something is big and important, that it always will be. It has to be maintained. And I think today that we see the FPC, the Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, are doing way more for preserving and advancing our rights, especially in the courts, than the NRA ever did, you know? But also, as the NRA is faltering, it gives the anti-gunners a false sense of victory when they're really not winning. They're not doing anything, but they think, oh, we got the NRA. We're like, the NRA is feckless and weak. But that's because they don't know about the Gun Owners of America, or the suppressor, is it the American Suppressor Association, or you know, all those things, firearms policy, Second Amendment, all that stuff. They don't know about any of it. They just think the NRA is this big boogeyman because all they do is know talking points. So in a way, them faltering is a good thing. But the one thing that has always perplexed me, whether you support the NRA or not, is this adherence to Wayne LaPierre. I don't get it. I have looked online and I have tried to find images, and maybe they're out there, but I can't find videos or images of Wayne LaPierre holding a gun or shooting a gun. I don't even know if he owns guns. But let's put it in the perspective of a CEO of a company. Imagine if under the CEO of a big Fortune 500 corporation, you lose power, you lose influence, you're under constant attack legally, you become a liability. There's people out there screaming that they won't buy your product, they'll boycott your product until the CEO is gone. You would think as a board of directors, you would go, you know what? We may like the CEO, but we got to keep this organization afloat. That CEO is just one person. Just one person. We can replace him. Why don't we just replace him? They never have and they never will. And it's because the NRA is so corrupt because you can't get him replaced. The board of directors has to be approved by other board of directors. If you want to run for the board of the NRA, you have to be approved by the board. So what does that mean? Well, the board becomes a nepotistic thing. It's become so corrupt, and everyone that's in it is bought and sold and paid for. And it's a waste. It's silly, it's stupid, and it's too bad because I know that there's some people that still say, I got to be a member of the NRA because my range requires it, or they have good training courses, and that's fair enough, and maybe that's what the NRA needs to be. They just need to be an organization for training, and that's it. I don't think they do anything politically anymore. I mean, there was a time when we all knew all the big names. You know, of course, you knew Wayne LaPierre. Then you knew Chris Cox, who was the head of the ILA, the Institute for Legislative Action. You know, he was huge, and then he got ousted, you know, because he had a little tiff with Wayne LaPierre. You know, you used to have Oliver North, who was the president. I can't even name who the president is today, right? So we used to have all this stuff, and now they're just a shell of their former selves. I think, who was also president? Was it Pete Brownell? I mean, people that we know. And now they're just cronies for Wayne LaPierre, and nobody will get rid of them. I mean, think about it. How can anybody in that organization look at the NRA and go, we're on sound footing? Like, they've lost all the money because they're spending it on defending Wayne LaPierre in court. Their membership is down. They're not influential like they used to, and they still think that doubling down on the person that's leading it is a good thing. Now, I have to say, I hadn't even thought about the NRA in a long time, as I said. And it wasn't until I read this article on The Truth About Guns, I was like, oh yeah, the NRA exists, don't they? So I was curious what you guys thought. And I know that over time, because people like myself and other YouTubers have been so vocal about Wayne and had their problems with Wayne LaPierre, that I think enough people have woken up. And I think the only people that are still members of the NRA are people that signed up as life members, and they're just members, you know, like, because their membership doesn't lapse. But I don't think they're getting new members in at any, I'm sure they're getting some new members, but they're not like they were when, you know, Obama was the president in those years. And The whole organization's falling apart. They almost lost their status in New York. Why are they incorporated in New York? It makes absolutely no sense. Why do they spend so much money defending Wayne LaPierre? Just let him go. Just let him go. He dug his own hole. He makes so much money he could defend himself. But I am glad that I'm not a member. I think they're a waste. And I'm glad to see them diminished. They're a shell of their former selves. But I like what they are now because the anti-gunners can attack them and they think they're actually doing something when they're doing absolutely nothing. It's like playing the shell game or like misdirection in Magic where, you want your audience to be watching what you're doing in this hand. And if they're not watching in this hand, they're doing something else. And so that's what we're doing. We're like, oh no, you're going after the NRA over here. And while the whole time, the GOA, all those other groups over here are doing stuff and you're not even paying attention because you're an anti-gunner and you only know the NRA. So it's kind of like a misdirection. So in a way, their whole decline and downfall has been a very positive thing, I think, for gun rights. And I was curious because I hadn't even thought about them in so long. No one talks about them. No one cares about them. They used to have their whole NRA TV with, Coleon Noir and all these different presenters. Used to have Hickok 45, talking gun, join the NRA and all that kind of. No one does that anymore. No, none of the channels talk about the NRA. No one. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like they've been wiped off the face of the earth. But yet, the people that can make the decisions stick with the same old plan. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And it just shows that they are corrupt to the core. They are rotten to the core. And it's so sad. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about tonight. I got to dig out a screwdriver to get this thing out. I thought my Allen wrench, which does fit it, I just can't get enough leverage on it to get this vertical foregrip off. So I got to get my screwdriver with my different heads on it to get that thing off and take off these things so I can figure out a way I'm going to fit all this stuff in this case. But I'm so happy with how this material worked out. So if you have a case you need replacement foam for and you're looking for something that's going to look good, Foam Factory. Just Google that. And they have different size foam and different things that are cut, pre-cut. All this. It's really cool. And it's relatively cheap and affordable. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight's Garage Gun Talk. Let's talk about the NRA tonight. And did you guys read that article at The Truth About Guns? And what do you think about the current state of the NRA? So let's have a good discussion, as always. So as always, thanks for watching.